across America, students are rising to the challenge of doing something to end youth violence. The Do the Right Thing Challenge gives middle school students an opportunity to examine the impact of youth violence on their lives. Students communicate what they think should be done to change our culture of violence, in classroom discussions and in written form. The Do the Right Thing Challenge is an initiative of the National Campaign to Stop Violence, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization composed of community, business, and governmental leaders who have come together to reduce youth violence in communities across the United States.
What made me want to do this challenge was that I want to express how violence changed my life, and I really want to get a message to people that no matter what you went through, you can still make a difference.
Pow, pow, pow. There was an explosion of gunshots as my mother fell to the ground, dead. There were 3 tall men about the same age as my brother, Carlos, searching the house for something or somebody. Later that night, when Carlos came home, he tried to calm me down and explain that he was a part of a gang and that the men were his gang members. Carlos had broken the gang law, and the men were not going to let anyone get in the way for their search of him.
I did not want to go. When we got there, my cousin and aunt went to the kitchen. Suddenly, my uncle grabbed me with all his strength and covered my mouth with his hands. When we got to a room upstairs, he pushed me onto the bed and told me not to say a word or he would kill me. I prayed that something would stop him, and I kicked and pushed him, but all my effort was hopeless.
I have witnessed violence since I was born. My father always came home drunk and would beat up my mother. When I was 3 or 4 years old, I stood up to my father's abuse. He was hitting my mother, and I got engaged and grabbed one of his beer bottles and busted it on his head to defend my mom. Ever since that violent day, my father and I fought endlessly until my mother took my brother, my sisters, and I from our home in Puerto Rico to America and my
It's my honor to celebrate the work of those incredible young people who have pledged to be the change we need to end youth violence. Over 150,000 students in 30 jurisdictions participated in classroom discussions about violence this year. Nearly 55,000 students chose to accept the challenge by writing about the causes and solutions for youth violence and by pledging not to engage in violent acts.
Do the Right Thing Challenge program, which is sponsored by Kuwait America Foundation. And America Kuwait Foundation was established in May 1991, which is about 2 months after the liberation of Kuwait by the US from the invasion of Saddam Hussein in 1990. And we thought that we have to say thank you to the American men and women liberated Kuwait and Kuwaiti children. And the idea of Do the Right Thing is to challenge American students and what they think about violence, how much is affecting their life. And they will select about 60 students that we'll invite every summer here. And we'll be at the Library of Congress to present the annual book of the essays. And then the students will go in the Capitol Hill to see their congressmen and senators and talk about the Do the Right Things Challenge program.
I would recommend to students trying to, thinking about if they wanted to come to this program, I would tell them that they need to do it because there are people like you who have been abused or been bullied or have even done acts of violence themselves, and it's kind of comforting to know that you're not alone in the world. It's really nice.
Some of the darkest days of my presidency involved youth violence, from Paducah, Kentucky to Jonesboro in my home state of Arkansas to the tragedy of Columbine in Littleton, Colorado. These shocking incidents left me, like all Americans, struggling to make sense of the senseless, to understand what could drive our teenagers to commit such violent acts. I am proud of the student ambassadors being honored today for their positive stand against violence. While your parents and other adults can provide guidance, You and your fellow students are still very much on your own to make difficult decisions. Best wishes to you all for a wonderful event. Bill Clinton. And I have to tell you, knowing Bill Clinton's upbringing, and I was listening to those amazing stories of young kids standing up and sometimes against their fathers, drunken fathers. Bill Clinton had to do that as a young boy. His father was beating up his mother on a regular basis. So that's our former president. He knows what he's talking about when he offers you your recognition. And through the power of these students' words, we learn how violence has impacted their lives, and their words shed light on problems that need to be addressed in our communities. Now it's up to us to listen, get involved, and accept the challenge as well.
When I get back to Chicago, I want to start acting on this. To my friends, at least, going to try to start to lead by example by showing that me doing the right things is better, and I'm better off being rewarded and doing it that way. And as I grow and grow and grow, I'll go to a broader audience, and I'll try to get everyone on my bandwagon. And maybe I might get some Do the Right Thing help.